Multi-step multiplication problems. Here's the problem we're going to be solving. At the Sea Park, one section in the stadium has 9 rows with 18 seats in each row. In the center of each of the first 6 rows, 8 seats are in the splash zone. How many seats are not in the splash zone? We're going to be making a graphic organizer to help us solve this problem. Okay, the first thing we'll need to do is to think about the problem we just read. What do I need to find out? I need to find the number of seats that are not in the splash zone. And what information am I going to use? Well, I'm going to go back to the problem. It says there are 9 rows with 18 seats in each row of the section. And then there are 6 rows with 8 seats in each row of the splash zone. Now that I have that information, how will I use it? Well, I can multiply to find both the number of seats in the section and the number of seats in the splash zone. Okay, if we drew a picture, it would make this a lot easier to solve. So here you see I have a diagram that shows all of the information that we've learned. First of all, I have 9 rows of 18 seats. So that's this whole big grid. And then in the center, I have outlined in blue, it's this part right here, this part. This is the splash zone. So let's go ahead and multiply both sets of data, and then we'll go on. First of all, I know I have 18 seats in 9 rows. This is my total seats in the section. So 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 7 is 162. And then let's go over here and find out what's in the splash zone. I have 8 by 6, so 8 times 6. There are 48 seats in the splash zone. Okay, now that we've done that, let's go back to the question and see if we're ready to solve it. It said, how many seats are not in the splash zone? So I know I have 162 seats in the section and 48 seats in the splash zone. So what operation will I need to use to find out how many are not in the splash zone? I hope you said subtraction. So we'll go ahead and subtract. And you will see that there are 114 seats that are not in the splash zone. There you go. Okay, here's a similar problem. At the Sea Park, one section of the Shark Theater has 8 rows with 14 seats in each row. In the middle of the section, 4 rows of 6 seats are reserved. How many seats are not reserved? So similar one. So I know first of all that I have one section of the Shark Theater has 8 rows with 14 seats. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a nice big rectangle. And here's what I have so far. And then it says in the middle of the section, 4 rows of 6 seats are not reserved. So that's going to be this part right here. Okay? It says how many seats are not reserved. What I want you to do now is to pause this video, use the information, and find out how many are in the total section of the Shark Theater, how many are in the how many are in the middle section that are reserved, and from there find out how many are not reserved. Once you've done that, then go ahead and come back to the video and we'll compare our answers. Okay, here's how we solve it. First, I am going to multiply 14 times 8, done that right here, and this is step 1, to find out how many seats are in the sections of the Shark Theater. After that, Step 2 is finding out how many seats are in the middle section, and that was 6 times 4, and I found 24. Now, to get to the actual question that we're trying to solve, how many seats are not reserved, I'm going to have to take 112 minus the 24, and that is my step 3. I've subtracted and I have found out that there are 88 seats that are not reserved. So my answer is 88. Okay, in this problem you can see the seats in sections A and B of the stadium are all taken for the last show. Section A has 8 rows of 14 seats each, and Section B has 6 rows of 16 seats each. How many people are seated in sections A and B for the last show? And first we had to draw and label a diagram. So that's what I have here. Section A, 14 by 8, and Section B has 6 rows of 16 seats. So in Section A, I've got the 8 rows of 14 seats, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply 14 times 8. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So there's 112 seats in Section A. And then for Section B, again, we have 16 seats and 6 rows, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply that. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 3 is 96. So now I know there are 96 seats in Section B. Now I need to find the total because it says how many people are seated in sections A and B. So I have 112 in Section A, 96 in Section B. I don't like to add horizontally or subtract, so I'm going to go ahead and do my work over here where I can add it vertically. And you will see that we have 208 seats in sections A and B. There we go. Okay, now that you've practiced this with me, I want you to go ahead and practice on your own. On page 81, go ahead and do problem 2, which is going to be using the information that we just started here with problem 1, and problem 3. Check with your teacher before moving on to the rest of the problems on pages 81 and 82.